So, a good day to everyone. So, last meeting, I've discussed about the first part on the management of dairy goats, which is I've discussed about the body condition score that you need to maintain on the different stages of the life of a dairy goat. So, I've discussed about the body scoring of 1 to 5, and then I've also discussed the care and management that you need to employ on the pregnant na dairy goat natin. Then, I've also discussed the care and management that you need to employ during lactating, during milking. So, I've discussed the procedure. I discussed a little bit about the procedure on milking a dairy goat. Now, for this video lecture, I'm going to talk about the management naman for dairy kid. So, when we say management of dairy kid, there are some similarities with the kid na for meat type. Kasi pareho lang naman silang bata, pareho lang naman silang kid. So, there are some similarities so kung um, may mga topics or management practices na hindi ko na-discuss for this video lecture, I'm sure na meron doon sa management practices doon sa KID on your ANSI 150. So, with that, let's go to the first it is important for the kid to receive the first milk of colostrum. So this is important not only for goat, for dairy goat, it is also important to any other livestock na yung mga mammals. So like for example sa swine, sa cattle, sa sa carabao, sa buffalo, doon sa mga sheep natin, all of the kid, all of the offspring, yung mga batang animal, it is important that they receive yung first milk or yung colostrum na tinatawag. So, itong colostrum na kasi na ito, this contain yung nutrients, high amount of nutrients, high amount of antibodies that the kid needs, that the baby goat needs para mamuhay siya, para mas mataas yung percentage na mabuhay siya. So, kailangan talaga na always make sure, talagang tignan mo, observe mo kung nakainom na siya, nakasak na siya ng colostrum. So, yun yung importanteng dapat na gawin ng batang kambing. So, yung colostrum kasi, it is essential also both as a laxative and internal antiseptic as it removes the meconium or fecal matter from the kid. So, yun rin yung importance ng colostrum aside from it being highly nutritious. Laxative. So, pampatae. Tsaka internal antiseptic daw para ma-remove yung fecal matter from the kid. Then, after several hours, a full udder indicates that the kid has not yet suckled its first milk supply. So, tie and lead the kid to it and direct the kid's mouth towards the teeth. So, dito mag-o-observe ka. So, after 2 to 3 hours, after 2 to 4 hours, nakita mo na yung udder nung nanay na kambing is nakita mo na full pa. So, makikita mo naman, mafe-feel mo naman kung may laman na gatas yung udder nung animal. So, pag nakita mo na observe mo na full pa yung udder, this indicates na wala pang nagsasak, wala pang nare-remove, wala pang naiinom yung batang kambing na colostrum. So, yung gagawin mo pag ganun, i-guide mo na. I-guide mo yung bata, yung batang kambing towards yung teeth no nanay para makapagsak siya ng colostrum. And then with that, there are three keys to colostrum feeding na tinatawag. So, first is feed the colostrum as soon as possible. So yun yung kailangan na talagang first thing that you need to do. Or yun yung mga first thing that you need to do. Um, you need to make sure na yung batang kambing will suck on the teats of the mother para makuha niya yung colostrum as soon as possible. So, like what I've said, the colostrum, full of nutrients yan. So, the immunoglobulins found in colostrum are large proteins. So, yung mga kids natin have openings in the small intestine to ma-accommodate yung protein absorption. And then, the colostrum is also full of antibodies, which is kailangan nung kambing. So, the absorption of these antibodies is most efficient the first few hours after birth. So, yun. So, kailangan talaga na you feed or make sure na nakakasak yung batang kambing ng colostrum kasi during the first few hours, doon na-absorb lahat yung mga protein. Doon na-absorb efficiently yung mga proteins at saka yung mga antibodies. Then the second one is feed colostrum at a minimum 10% of the kid's body weight. So yun. So like for example, you have a 5 kilogram na kid at birth. Let's just say for the sake of example, so may 5 kilogram ka na kid at birth. So, yung dapat na colostrum na makukuha nung batang kambing is 10% of the 5 kilogram. So, dapat ganun. Minimum pa yun. Minimum 10% of the body weight of the kid. So, laging tatandaan yun. So, make sure na nakukuha niya. Kahit naman sinasabi mo na nakasak na siya, nakakuha na siya ng colostrum, kung hindi sapat yun, wala pa rin. Dapat minimum of 10% of the kid's body weight yung nakukuha niya na colostrum. So yun. Then another one is yung use of high quality colostrum. Now this is only applicable kasi naka-harvest yung colostrum eh. Pwedeng ma-harvest yung colostrum from the mother. Then, pwede mong i-store, pwede mong i-ref. Ilagay sa refrigerator. Then, pag yung mga orphan na mga kid, yung mga walang nanay na mga kid, then doon mo ibibigay yung mga colostrum. Pero, when we say use of high quality colostrum, it depends na doon sa nanay na kambing na nagpro-produce yun. So, kailangan rin na properly, kailangan rin na yung nanay is binibigyan mo ng proper nutrition para makapag-produce siya ng high quality colostrum. So, here we have yung mga colostrum sources. So, saan ba makukuha? So, colostrum from fresh females in your own herd is the best source of colostrum because it will have custom-made antibodies. If this is not possible, frozen colostrum from the herd is the next best source. So, yun. Yung dapat na parang pagkukunan mo, yung first na pagkukunan mo dapat ng colostrum is dun sa nanay mismo. Dun sa lactating na nanay. So, ito yung best na source of colostrum mo kasi based on the mga sakit na na-expose na yung nanay, yung mga diseases na na-experience na nung nanay, nakaka-develop yan ng antibodies, mga specific antibodies. So, ito ngayon, pwedeng makuha ngayon nung kambing. Kasi yung mga antibodies na yun, pwedeng maiano dun sa colostrum. Pwedeng maisama dun sa, let's just say, pwedeng maisama dun sa colostrum. So kung nagsak na yung kambing, yung batang kambing, Then nakukuha rin niya yung mga antibodies na naproproduce nung nanay niya. Yung mga specific antibodies for specific diseases. So nakukuha rin niya yon. So yun. And then if it is not possible, so let's just say yung namatay yung nanay na kambing. Then yung next best source mo ng colostrum is yung frozen colostrum from the herd. Yung mga na-harvest mo na colostrum, yung mga na-store mo na colostrum, yun yung next best source mo. So, if you have the opportunity to harvest extra colostrum from a healthy older doe, this is a good colostrum to freeze and have on hand. So, yun. Pag meron ka ng opportunity, mag-harvest ka talaga. So, yun yung isa sa mga parang key para to make sure na meron ka pa ring supply ng colostrum. Kasi, in a scenario, if yung batang kambing namatayan ng nanay, um, there's a high percentage na mamamatay rin yung kambing. Kasi hindi siya hindi siya makakakuha ng colostrum. So, ganun ka-importante yung colostrum. It dictates yung growth and development ng kambing on early stage. Kasi it has a big part doon sa growth and development, yung pagsak ng colostrum. So, kung wala siyang nasak na colostrum, then mayroong high percentage of mortality talaga. So, kailangan na to prevent this, kailangan na mag-harvest ka ng mga colostrum. It is recommended from healthy older doe. So, doon ka mag-harvest, then you freeze it, and you store it, and pag mayroon yung scenario na talagang wala ka ng pagkukunan ng colostrum, at least meron kang na-harvest, at least meron kang na-store. So, yun. And then, if for any reason, the kid cannot be fed colostrum or the doe died while kidding, give the kid a liberal dose of any vegetable oil or a little milk with the white of fresh egg. So, yun. Pag daw hindi ka na talaga nakapag-store, hindi ka namatay na yung nanay, wala ka na talagang sources of colostrum, ito yung recommended daw. You give the kid a liberal dose. So when we say liberal, it does not give us the exact amount, pero when we say liberal dose, marami. From a teaspoonful to a tablespoonful of vegetable oil or a little milk with a white of fresh egg. So yun, vegetable oil daw or milk with white of fresh egg. So yun daw yung ibibigay mo doon sa kambing. Pero it does not necessarily replace talaga yung colostrum. Parang ito is yun na yung last resort mo. Yun na lang yung pagkakapitan mo kasi wala ka na talagang makuha na colostrum. And itong vegetable oil or itong milk with white of fresh egg, it does not guarantee na mag-grow and magde-develop properly yung kambing. So yun. Last resort na talaga to. Then this is to start the bowels. So yung pagbibigay kasi ng vegetable oil at saka itong white or fresh egg, this is to start the bowels to function normally. It may become necessary at this time to give an enema by using a baby syringe. So parang ganito. Binibigyan mo na nito. Using a baby syringe. Binibigyan mo ng enema. So yung enema na tinatawag, it involves inserting liquid or gas into the rectum, which is, yung aim niya is to empty the bowels, allow for an examination or administer medication. So yun. Di ba sinabi ko kanina na yung colostrum, it also acts as a laxative. So, clear out niya yung mga fecal matter dun sa kambing. So, kung wala na talaga hindi nakapag-ano ng colostrum, ito na yung next best source. Vegetable oil or milk with white fresh of egg. So in farms where electricity and refrigeration are available, Dapat talaga mag-store ka ng excess colostrum in freezers. And then to feed weak kids or those born from those with inadequate colostrum, thaw the frozen milk by slow heating, then feed lukewarm. So yun. So, hindi lang dun sa senaryo na wala ka, namatayan yung kambing ka magbibigay ng colostrum. Kahit naman na namatay, hindi namatay yung nanay na kambing kahit nagpo-produce siya ng colostrum, kung yung pinoproduce niyang colostrum is inadequate, meaning kulang, and then um, pag kulang kasi hindi mapoprovide nung nanay yung sapat na colostrum, yung sinasabi kong minimum of 10% of the body weight of the kid, then kailangan mo pa rin na magbigay ng supplemental na colostrum na hinarvest mo na in-store mo. So yung gagawin mo, papainitin mo yung frozen na colostrum. Then after mo pinainit, i-feed mo doon sa kambing, lukewarm dapat, hindi yung cold. Kasi baka ayaw nung kid or baka mayroong complication na magaganap kung masyadong malamig yung ibibigay mo na milk. So dapat lukewarm. Then allow the kids to run with the dose with 3 to 5 days. So after yung mga colostrum feeding, then ito yung gagawin. You allow them to run with the dough. Sasamahan niya yung nanay niya for 3 to 5 days. If the lactating does are intended for twice a day milking, keep the kids in a pen and individually hand feed with milk. So yun. Yung kung daw yung nanay, nami-milk siya twice a day. Like for example, um, sa umaga at tapos sa hapon, yung gagawin mo, hindi mo na hahayaan na sumama yung kid doon sa nanay. So, you keep the kids in the pen and then you feed him milk by hand na. So, hindi na siya kukuha doon sa nanay. So, by hand mo na gagawin yung pag-feed ng milk. The same person should care for the kids and supervise their daily feeding. So, yun. Para masanay at para maging comfortable yung kid, and not only the kid, para masanay na rin yung nanay sa'yo. So, yun. So, dapat same person, hindi yung paiba-iba. Kasi, this may cause stress rin doon sa kid kasi unfamiliar sa kanya yung mukha. Then, train the kids with patience and kindness to enable them to react to friendly handling and to avoid excitement. So, yun. Yung ikaw na nag-aalaga, hindi dapat na aggressive. So, kailangan na with patience and kindness pa rin. Kailangan gentle ka para ma-associate na ikaw ay gentle, ikaw ay safe. So, mas comfortable siya sa'yo. Then, you need to observe closely their condition and development. So, guard against wet beddings in kids' pen. So, kailangan i-observe mo yung condition niya. Baka naman na yung growth rate niya is mababa. Or baka naman malnourished yung kid mo. So, you need to observe its growth and development. And then, guard against wet beddings in kids' pen. So, you need to guard it against wet beddings. So, yung wet bedding kasi, pwedeng pamugaran ito, pwedeng maging mold, pwedeng pagtubuan ng molds, mga fungi, mga bacteria, that can cause diseases to the kid. So, kailangan na dry yung bedding dry yung pen nung kid. Then, beddings may seem dry on top but saturated underneath. So, change beddings of kids 2 to 3 times daily. So, in a less intensive production naman, or if milking is only once a day, allow the kids to run with the older stocks. So, yun. Di ba, sinabi ko kanina is 2 times a day na nami-milk yung nanay, hindi mo na siya isasama, wag mo nang isama yung kid. So, ikukulong mo na lang sa pen, then ikaw na lang yung magpapasuso, magbibigay ng milk sa kanya. Pero, if once a day lang, then pwedeng sumama yung kid doon sa mga older stocks. However, keep them in the night shelter where creep feeds and fresh water are available. So, may mga farms kasi na open na. So, bahala na yung mga goats, yung mga dairy goats na paggabi pumunta na doon sa bahay nila, mga ganun. Pero yung kid talagang make sure that you keep them at the shelter at night. So, on the parang housing nila, then you need to provide yung creep feed na tinatawag. Yung creep feeding, yun yung hindi pa masyadong marami yung binibigay mo na feed. So, yung sapat lang para ma-familiarize and then para makapag-provide ka ng sapat na nutrition doon sa kid. Then, dapat meron rin fresh water. Dapat available pa rin yung fresh water. Then, protect kids from predatory animals. So, yun. Kaya kailangan na proper fencing, proper housing. Kasi yung kid, it is vulnerable sa mga predators. So, hindi naman common dito sa Pilipinas, pero sa ibang bansa kasi, with the presence of wolves, coyote, mga ganon, bears, itong mga predators na ito, yung ita-target talaga is yung mga maliliit na animals. So, like yung kid. So, para maano mo yun, dapat, para ma-prevent mo yung attack na ganun, dapat may mga guard ka, mga harang ka, mga fencing ka. And doon sa mga ibang bansa, uso doon yung tinatawag na livestock guardian dogs na tinatawag. So itong livestock guardian dogs na ito, sila yung nagbabantay doon sa mga kid. Kung may mga predator man na presence, then tinataboy nila. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, wala ka namang makikita mga wolf, wala ka namang makikita mga coyotes. So yung parang predator lang dito is pwede yung mga aso natin. Kasi may mga aso na talagang tina-target, talagang kumakain ng mga livestock natin. So yun, dapat proper fencing yung kailangan. Then, in care of dairy kid rin and then care of kid in general, kailangan disbudding. You perform disbudding talaga. So, yung disbudding, it is the removal of the horn buds of young goats and is a common management practice of most commercial dairies. So, yung disbudding na tinatawag, nire-remove niya yung horn buds pa lang. Hindi pa yung mismong horn. You can observe kasi na meron parang tutubo, meron parang protrude na parang bud doon sa ulo nung kid natin. So yun yung horn bud na tinatawag. So pag may nakita ka ng ganun, then you perform disbudding na. So this practice, although it causes the kid some short-term pain, has many benefits to the goats and the people who handle them. So although kasi talaga namang masakit ito. So as you can see naman dun sa picture, iniinit, tinutunaw. So masakit talaga for the kid. Pero in the long term, it can benefit naman yung kid. Kasi yung horn, it is one of the major reasons kung bakit nai-injure yung mga kambing natin. Lalong-lalo na if nag-aaway sila. So itong mga kid na to, they are very active, they are very curious. And at this age kasi, itong mga kid na to, playful sila. So kung hinayaan mong tumubo yung horn nila, there's a possibility talaga na mai-injure sila, lalong-lalo na if naglalaro sila, playful fighting, nag-aaway sila, so mai-injure talaga yung kid. And at the same time, mabe-benefit rin yung nag-aalaga kasi kung naiiwasan yung injury with each other, yung mga kid, then maiiwasan na rin yung injury with the helper, with the person na in charge. So yun. So while horns are useful for goats in the wild, they are a management hazard in a domestic setting. For example, a horned milking doe who must have her head in a stanchion twice a day uh, could get caught and hurt herself if uh, she was started during milking. So station pala to, station. So, ayun. Pag sa wild kasi, yung horns niya, it acts as a deterrent, it acts as a protection. Pwedeng maging weapon, pwedeng yun yung gamitin ng kambing for protection against predator. Pero sa ano kasi, in a farm setting, sinasabi dito, management hazard. So, sa example na to, um, yung mga milking dough natin na malaki yung horn, pwedeng um, parang ma-stack or maisalat doon sa mga um, doon sa mga gap between yung mga pens nung kambing. So, pwedeng ma-injure pa yung animal. So, yun. And then horns get coats in fences rin yun, yung sinasabi ko, and can injure human handlers and pen mates. When only some have horns, those with horns have an advantage in competition for food and space over the disbodied goat. So yun, yung mga kaya dapat na make sure na you remove or you perform disbudding on all of the goats. Kasi kahit naman na nag-disband ka, pero may mga hindi ka na-disband na tumubo yung horn niya, then yung mga may horn, talagang ibubuli yung mga walang horn. Kasi meron silang horn eh. It is an advantage na sa kanila. So ibubuli nila yung mga walang horn. During feeding, pwede nilang uh, pwede nilang gamitin yung horn nila para sila yung unang um, para sila lang yung mag-feed doon sa feeder, mga ganun. So, yun, management hazard talaga. Then disbudding, depending on the goat breed and gender, could be needed as early as few days of age or whenever you can clearly feel the horn buds. So, yun. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na horn buds. So, pag nakakita ka na ng ganito, then pwede ka nang mag-disbud. Then, hair growth over the horn buds should be palpated. So, you can avoid trying to disbud a naturally polled na kid. So, yun. Hindi naman talaga eksakto na ano ka. When we say polled kasi yun yung mga hornless breed. May mga ganun na breed ng goat. So, baka naman na tinitignan ay magpe-perform ka ng disbudding, eh wala naman talagang horn. So, kailangan na tignan mo ng maigi. You feel yung um, horn bud niya kung meron man talaga. The hair on the horn bud will grow in a swirl over the horn bud, whereas the hair on a polled kid will grow flat over the horn area. As you can see here, parang yung hair niya umiikot doon sa horn bud. Pero pag pulled siya, pag hornless siya, wala, hindi iikot. Parang flat lang yung hair. So yun, yun yung indication mo kung para matignan mo. Then, for the identification system, most dairy goat producers find thorough record keeping to be essential to a good management program. So, if you plan to keep records on your goats, you will need to give each goat some form of permanent individual identification. So, pwede yung ear tag, pwede yung ano, o pwede yung ear tag, and then pwede rin to, ear tattooing na sinasabi. So, yung tattooing, it is one of the most widely used identification system, and you can do it at the same time as disbudding. So, itong tattooing, when done correctly, it will be for permanent, parang tattoo. So, it will last throughout the goat's life. Then, let's discuss naman yung housing nila for the kid, pre and post-weaning. So, a housing area that can be easily sterilized between kid groups is ideal. So, kids are inquisitive and rowdy at all times. So, if there is any possible way for them to get into trouble, they will generally find it. So, dapat na yung housing nung ano mo um, can be easily sterilized, can be easily disinfected. And then, yung mga kids talaga, they are curious, they are active, they are playful. So, keeping this in mind, pay special attention to potential escape routes and hazardous materials in or near pen. So, kailangan na make sure na yung pen nila, yung housing nila, um, wala silang mga parang way para tumakas. Then, make sure also that the sharp end of metal wire used to hold a panel in place can cause a deep gash in a kid. So, make sure na walang mga nag-protrude, walang lumalabas, nakalabas na mga sharp objects. So, a small grain through uh, on a hanging fence could be just the right height to help an acrobatic kid leap the fence. So, make sure rin na yung wala kang parang mga stepping platform for the kid. Kasi lalong-lalo na around defense. Kasi pag may stepping platform yung mga kid mo, pwede silang pumunta doon and then pwede silang tumakas. Then, a well-gravelled pen can help prevent standing water. So, yung standing water, ito yung pag hindi properly drain yung pen mo, yung flooring ng pen mo. So, magkakaroon ng standing water, hindi na drain. So, yung mga urine, yung mga water, yung mga feces, nandun, lahat. So, yun. So, goats are extremely unhappy if they cannot avoid standing in water. But a gravel surface can be difficult to clean and accumulated manure can provide a breeding area for flies. So, gravel does, however, have a disadvantage of low cost. Does, however, have a disadvantage of low cost and it breaks up animal waste by sifting the smaller pieces below the gravel surface. So, pwedeng may mga disadvantage pa rin yung uh, uh, gravel na flooring. So, pwede pa rin yon gravel na flooring, pwede rin yung cement na flooring. So, you need to identify kung ano yung best suited for you, yung advantage at saka yung disadvantage niya. Then, a sloped concrete area, although more expensive, is easy to clean and sterilize between kid groups. So, yun. Dapat sloping yung flooring mo para there's proper drainage para pag mag-clean ka, ma-drain lahat, pupunta lahat sa kanal yung mga tae, yung mga urine, yung mga water na ginamit mo. So, dapat sloping yung flooring. Then, for the health programs naman, every commercial goat herd should have a written preventive health program that has been prepared in consultation with a veterinarian to protect the animals from health problems. So, yun. Kailangan pa rin na may health program ka. This is all important not only doon sa mga ano natin, this is important not only doon sa mga camping natin, but all of the livestock dapat may proper health program ka. And then you need to consult yung mga veterinarian since they are the ones who knows talaga extensively yung health ng animal. And then health programs vary greatly with different management needs, so it is best to consult with a veterinarian in your area, preferably with a specific experience in goat as you draw up the program for your herd. So in making a health program, consult yung veterinarian mo pa rin. So, they have the knowledge and expertise talaga. And they are there to guide you in making yung health program mo. Then, internal parasites can rob a kid of its full potential to grow and develop. So, yung mga roundworm larvae can be ingested from infected pastures. Then, they can reach maturity and lay eggs in about 2 to 6 weeks, then be passed back on the pasture by infected goats to continue the cycle. So, sa health program mo, make sure rin na you have a specific program for yung parasite control mo. Kasi, yung parasite kasi talaga na either external or external, this may cause health problems, this may cause diseases to the animal, to the kid mo. Lalong-lalo na if kid because they are susceptible for internal parasites. So make sure na yung pasture mo, it is free from parasite. So, to make sure na yung pasture mo free from parasite, you can practice pasture rotation and then you can apply um, may mga parang pesticides, parasiticides na pwede mong i-apply dun sa pasture mo para mamatay yung uh, mga parasites. Then, we have here a specific disease called coccidiosis, which is caused by a protozoan that inhabits the intestinal tract. Yung mga kambing, yung mga batang kambing that is stricken with coccidiosis can sustain permanent damage to the intestine that will prevent their full absorption of nutrients and make them unthrifty. So yung coccidiosis talaga, ito yung mga prevalent talaga na parasites. Not only on mga goat, pwede rin sa mga manok to eh. So yung coccidiosis, present na doon sa doon sa pwedeng maging present na talaga doon sa intestine doon ng mga kid natin. Then nafi-feel yung effect ng parasite pag improper nutrients, pag hindi ka nagbibigay ng proper nutrients doon sa kid. Kasi it will prevent talaga yung full absorption ng nutrients. So, yung possibility is magiging malnourished yung kid mo pag meron siyang coccidiosis. So, yung possibility rin pag nagiging malnourished kasi tapos pine-prevent pa yung absorption ng nutrients is bigla-bigla na lang mamamatay talaga yung kambing. So, kahit na sabihin mo na healthy naman siya, kahit sabihin mo na kumakain naman siya kahapon, pero bigla na lang namatay ngayon. So, those are like the symptoms of coccidiosis. So, make sure na properly disinfected pa rin yung mga pasture natin. Then, yung pag may horses ka, medyo may problema rin kasi horses are carriers for tetanus and can shed the diseases. So, if horses have been housed on the property within the last 20 years, you may want to consider vaccinating your goats for tetanus. So, kids without immunity to the diseases can die at an early age if they contract tetanus. So, yun. Pwedeng maging vector daw yung mga horses natin sa tetanus. So, pag may horses ka or alam mo na merong horses dati doon sa pen na paglalagyan mo ng mga goats mo, then you need to properly vaccinate yung mga goat mo kasi baka may presence pa rin ng tetanus doon. And then, sa winning naman, sa winning management, winning of kids depend on the system of management and operation which goats are raised. So, depend yan. Depending dun sa kung for meat production or for milk production. Kasi for milk production, talagang as early as 3 days, pwede nang iwiwin mo na talaga yung kambing, yung batang kambing. So, for dairy purposes, kids may be weaned totally from those immediately. So, yun pala, immediately pala or at least 3 days after kidding and then raised by hen feeding. So, yun. At weaning, separate the buck kids from the kid herd. This would prevent some of the doe kids from being bred too young. So, breeding them too young stunt the kids' growth. So, yun. Kailangan pa rin na you separate the buck kids from the kid herd doon sa mga babaeng kambing. Kasi may tendency pa rin na pag at 4 months, at 5 months, baka ma-bred too young. Baka ma-mate nung buck na batang kambing yung mga babaeng kambing. So, breeding them too young talaga will result to stunted growth. So, yun. So, make sure na na-separate mo. So, yun lang. With that, that ends my video presentation on the management practices that you need to employ on mga dairy kids natin. So, with that, thank you for listening and please go over it as this will also be included on your exam.